Take it away, Harriet.
Thank you so much. How is everybody? Hanging in there?
Yes.
Excellent, excellent. Well, I really appreciate NCPC's hosting this event, and I'm glad to see so many people here for it. I also very much appreciate the time and effort that Carol and Barry have spent to kind of lay the groundwork and provide the context for it. I'm going to get into some specifics. Let me throw some numbers at you right away. You've heard Carol mention some of them. This is both our challenge and our opportunity, right? How do we use large-scale projects like St. Elizabeth's as a catalyst for broad-scale community change? I mean, that's a little bit what Barry was getting at. The real test is how do you take a $3.6 billion investment that brings 14,000 employees every day, 2,000 daily visitors, and positively support and revitalize neighborhoods that have, at a minimum, a 22 to 30% unemployment rate, where 47% of the children live in poverty. I mean, that's really the challenge. We've just gotten our census numbers back, and you've been reading all about it and hearing all about some of the good news in the district that we're gaining in population. One of the statistics is that we're the most highly educated region in the country, the highest number of advanced degrees, and the people that are moving into the district, they have even more degrees than the people that are already in the region. And so, that means that the knowledge economy is really taking root. And yet in Ward 8, that means we have an even bigger challenge because of the gulf between the educational attainment in Ward 8 and the kinds of jobs that are being created in our regional economy is getting greater and greater. And so that's just one of our many challenges. This is another challenge. This is kind of what a level 5 security facility looks like, right? All right, no it doesn't. No it doesn't. There's no moat at St. Elizabeth's. There's a wall, there's no moat. But that is a challenge. I mean, in an ideal world, we would have picked a federal partner that didn't have those kinds of security requirements. I'm going to tell you in a little bit why actually Homeland Security is the very best federal agency to be at this location. But this is one of the challenges that we have to honestly overcome. And what we are trying to create on the campus of the East Campus of St. Elizabeth in particular is to create a real place for interaction and coming together between DHS and the community, kind of the antidote to the moat. That's what we're looking for. We want a level of exchange of people, of ideas, of knowledge, of goods, of services, of economic activity, and that's what we're trying to accomplish in our planning approach that embodies both coordination and maximizing the relationships that exist between land use, economic development, and transportation. These are key elements here. Our work is driven by those three things I just mentioned: the physical development planning, the transportation challenges and opportunities, and economic development. The federal coordination, I think, is unprecedented. I've never worked on a project where money wasn't just landing on a project and something was happening. We have a lot of federal projects, obviously, in this region. We work closely with GSA on a lot of things, but this level of coordination across agencies, I mean, we have EDA here, we have NCPC here, obviously. In a typical meeting, we'd have folks from transportation and from HUD. We might have folks from SBA. We have all kinds of people from throughout the federal government who are very interested in this project and working along with us, and I think that's going to end up making a key difference. Our vision is to open the campus. It's a National Historic Landmark site. It was a trend-setting, groundbreaking place all along. It was the first place that really humanely treated people with mental illness, and in a landscape that they built to be therapeutic in and of itself. That's an important part of its heritage, something that we want to preserve. But at the same time, it's all fenced off at this point, even on the East Campus. We want to open that up. We want to make connections with the existing neighborhoods. We want to leverage this Homeland Security consolidation and promote a range of economic opportunities and linkages to the community. The mayor talked in his State of the District address yesterday and in many other places about his priorities. Job creation is a very important one, and that's key here. Workforce development is a critical component. Fiscal stability. We're a city that has only 40% of our land on the tax rolls. I mean, that's a tough hurdle to try to surmount. And the East Campus of St. Elizabeth is an example where we're going to take land that's currently not producing any tax revenue and put it back on our tax rolls. This is We've just launched a master planning process for the first phase of development, along with an environmental assessment for the roads that have to be done on the East Campus. We hope to get approvals from Historic Preservation for the master plan in the late summer, early fall, and then initiate a zoning process. But let me talk a little bit about the DHS economy and why we've concluded that we're very, very fortunate that it's DHS that's here at St. Elizabeth's. The business development context is that they have $14 billion in annual procurement activity. That's a lot of procurement activity. Unlike a lot of other agencies, they do tons of research, but their research isn't sort of, social science research or for general purposes. They really research only the things that they hope to eventually procure. So they're one of the very few agencies that have something called a Chief Commercialization Officer, who's intended to, his job is to shorten the time between research and its results and the commercialization and procurement of products that DHS can use. The Department of Homeland Security is important because of they do that direct procurement. It's not just them. Intelligence and Defense do that also. But most of the other federal agencies in our region don't have that kind of view of how their research dollars are spent and are not quite as interested in commercialization and the small business and other opportunities that throws off. The other interesting thing is that they are also the market makers for 25 million first responders. So if you do police, fire, EMS, a lot of the equipment that you procure, a lot of the safety, a lot of the intelligence gathering, that's something that DHS helps to establish. So that creates some interesting opportunities with markets of that size. There are more than 300 national security and emergency management related graduate programs now. I think a dozen years ago there were almost none. And so what kind of opportunity does that create on the East Campus to maybe bring some of those national, maybe into something that we might call a national security university? We already have dozens and dozens of colleges and universities from around the world who have a physical presence in the District of Columbia. This isn't that big a stretch to think about that. Workforce development. Not only are there 14,000 permanent full-time employees at the Department of Homeland Security, they have an enormous contractor workforce that works very closely with them, where proximity might be an important thing. Those contractors, the support services related, that has a lot of potential employment opportunity, and not all of those jobs come with the same security restrictions that jobs directly at Homeland Security might have. And finally, we have this wonderful, unique campus-like setting on the East Campus of St. Elizabeth's. We have a lot of infrastructure challenges, but we also have a lot of opportunity to build out facilities and to establish the infrastructure that would support a real innovation hub, as well as the kind of choices that people have come to expect in the district of a range of housing types and transportation choices. So how are we doing this? We're doing a lot of stakeholder engagement. This is with a specific grant that we've gotten from the Economic Development Administration, and we're doing kind of a drill down of this and mapping of the DHS economy, the federal labs, the college programs and security fields, the R&D, the incubators, and really looking at what our competitive positioning needs to be. When it comes to something like an innovation hub, what does that look like? What's the management structure? What's the commercialization? What kind of a workforce does it need? And really screening those opportunities to see what makes the most sense for us. We are already a regional leader, actually, in overall DHS procurement, but that is particularly for high-tech services, which makes sense given the types of people I said were moving to the district. But it also, again, means challenges for how we engage our Ward 8 population in that opportunity. So what's success? Let me just conclude by saying, we have very specific outcomes that we're seeking out of this process. Regional innovation clusters have the benefits that Barry talked about, but in the District of Columbia, there are very specific things that we're looking to get out of it. A direct pipeline of employment now and particularly in the future for Ward 8 residents, and that might mean starting right now in high schools and in middle schools to talk to kids about the opportunity. That might be steering them more towards STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics education rather than other sorts of learning. It means catalyzing research and development and giving people more of a full spectrum of educational choices. One of the great things about attracting so many smart young people, the people I like to call the young and the restless to the district, is that they have immense interest in being entrepreneurs. So how can we better engage the folks east of the river in this in these entrepreneurial opportunities? But how do we grow that next generation of businesses? And finally, how do we use the physical plant that's St. Elizabeth's East Campus to grow a vibrant innovation hub and give people those housing and transportation choices that they need?
Great. Thank you so much, Harriet. If I could just toss one quick question to you, maybe follow up on something that you discussed. Earlier you talked about the business development, the education, the workforce tools or the resources associated with the campus and DHS. One of the things that's been in the news in the last week or two with the census data coming out for the district is this notion about revitalization and gentrification. And could you talk a little bit about how this vision and this plan that you're about to execute around St. E's and the innovation clusters, how the revitalization that everybody's working really hard to see will also be a catalyst for pulling up diverse communities east of the river?
I think the real focus is the mayor's focus on jobs and on employment. I mean, for the longest time in the District of Columbia, our focus has really been about our real estate. Economic development in the district was real estate development, and that is just no longer the case. And so there's really a laser focus on the economic opportunities that exist, and really trying to engage our institutions around the region in helping to solve this problem. We have a great partnership that we're creating around research and innovation with our universities, but I think the other question the mayor is going to ask is that these institutions employ a wide range of employees at all skill levels, and everyone who works at a university is a college professor, or a researcher. There's a whole range of jobs there, and I think a lot of our universities don't even do as well as the average in the district. We have 700,000 jobs in the district. 2/3 of those jobs are held by people who don't live in the district. And so, I think it's easy for us to begin to do better. One of the things we recognize is that our, if we had a comparative strength, it's that we have a great quality of life in the district. We have these great transportation choices and more of them every day, a lot of housing choices, and that's exactly the kind of set of amenities that we're committed to bringing to Ward 8 and making sure that that convenience, those transportation choices, those amenities are there, and that people have the jobs that would enable them to stay in Ward 8, even as we try to deliberately grow the population of Ward 8, one of the few places in the district that actually saw a very slight dip in this last census in population. It was only a couple of hundred, but compared to many of the other parts of the district that had pretty robust growth, this is an area that doesn't have the amenities that some of the rest of the district does. So those are all parts of our strategy. Amenities and that kind of an investment in transportation and other infrastructure, and a real focus on jobs and getting every major institution in the district to be our partner in trying to better employ our unemployed and underemployed workforce.
Great. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.